Hey, I'm Chris Berman. Coming up on ESPN, get your parkas and umbrellas ready. The forecast calls for a nice, steady downpour throughout this one. So we'll see if holding onto the ball and swimming will be a factor. Giants, Packers, next!
And look at all the happy tailgaters as they get set to cheer for the hometown team. Hi, folks. I'm Dan Stevens, and welcome to historic Lambeau Field. My pal Peter O'Keefe will be covering today's game with me. Peter, playing on the road can be an unfriendly environment, to say the least, and it has been particularly unkind to these guys.
Well, you said it, Dan. They've really had a rough go of it on the road so far this season. They're hoping they can turn their luck around in today's game. We'll see how it goes.
And now let's go down to the coin toss. Ready. Bryant kicks it, and we are underway. Ferguson decides to take it out of the end zone. Brought down at the 16. The weather is a factor. Robbins sacks him back at the 12. Franks catches it over the middle, and they get the first on 3rd and long.
Focused and believing in your teammates.
On 3rd and very long, and they come out with a big play to move the chains. That was really quite a call.
Yeah, it sure was. Got to give those guys on the sideline credit for drawing up that bad boy.
Favre throws. Driver catches the left sideline, and he's in for the score.
Touchdown, Packers.
Donald Driver is just crazy good on this play, Dan. He refuses to be intimidated by triple coverage. I would have tried to throw somewhere else, I think. Oh, but...
Warner throws a bullet to the flat, and the ball's caught at the 30. No one in front of him. Eventually runs out at the 37. That will bring up first down. Farmer will take the handoff and heads out right. Tackled at the 32. Warner throws a big high lob, and it's caught for the score.
Jeremy Shockey shows his coverage, man. The finer points of pass patterns, namely, get away from me. I have the ball to catch.
He really beat his man. That was bad. Walker didn't haul that one in, and it falls incomplete. It'll be 4th. Barber is at the 40. Barber gains a bunch on the play, and that will bring up first down. Barber picks up 6 on the play, and that brings up 3rd down. Warner dumps this one off, and it is not reeled in. Incomplete.
Darren Sharper.
And then the field goal unit is on the field. Bryant kicks from 37 yards out, and he misses this one to the right. Green gains 5 on the play, and that will bring up 3rd down. Favre throws a heater, and it falls incomplete. Warner zings it to the right side, and it's complete at the 43. Finally gets out of bounds at the 40. Barber takes his 4th carry of the game and takes it upfield. Stopped at the 47.
Number 6.
Navies gets the sack way back at the 47.
Expecting that, and they go to nickel.
Hilliard grabs the fastball over the middle, and they get the first on 3rd and long. Barber makes the nice catch and picks up 4 on the play.
Tiki Barber took on triple coverage and came away with a phenomenal catch.
They move the ball. Warner just rifles this one, and the reception is made past the markers for... Barber makes a tough catch, and that's a touchdown.
Tiki Barber faces down 2 defenders and comes away with the football. Oh, nice catch.
They take the lead on that touchdown. Here's the extra point, and embarrassingly, he misses it. Walker hauls it in right side. Tackle. The Packers will take a timeout. Favre airs this one to the left sideline, and it's tipped. Incomplete. 4th down coming up in our studios in Bristol for the ESPN Halftime Report. Boomer?
Okay, Dana, we'll get back to you guys in a moment. Welcome, everybody, to the ESPN Halftime Show. I'm Chris Berman. The Packers, therefore, find themselves in a tight ball game. Anything can happen in the second half. Let's get started in this one early in the first quarter.
Sean Williams managed to intercept that ball even in these slippery conditions. The defense has to be alert. Those passes could go anywhere.
Boy, that was a heads-up play to come away with his first interception of the game.
Yeah, you got to love D like that.
7-7. For my partner, Peter O'Keefe, this is Dan Stevens saying goodbye until next time.
Good job out there. That's right, fellas. That's right, fellas. We got it.
All right, gang, great work as always. And with that, we welcome everybody back to the ESPN studios for our ESPN Video Games post-game show. I'm Chris Berman. The Giants stepped it up for sure, putting up some good numbers. Let's get started in this one early in the third quarter. Brett Favre connected with his man on this one. Jeremy Shockey came up with a big play as he was able to pull this one in. A 75-yard touchdown for the Giants. Packers down by 13. Brett Favre is back to throw, and look at the finesse he puts on this one. Nice. The Giants have it after a turnover on downs. Tiki Barber was able to make things pay off on the ground. A 7-yard touchdown for the Giants. Giants leading 27-7. Sean Williams was in the right place at the right time, as his interception was a possible momentum shifter. And that's where we'll leave this one. Giants come away with a win, 27-7. Now let's take a moment to speak to our player of the game. Jeremy Shockey was kind enough to give us a moment of his time, and he's on the field with Susie Colbert. Susie?
Thanks, Chris. You were fantastic. You just made it look easy tonight. What do you think was the critical factor in getting the W?
I think you got to give credit to all these defensive backs that are out there smothering the receivers and providing good run support. This is really a good game for them.
Chris, back to you.
Thanks for tuning into ESPN.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Chris Berman. Well, let's get straight to the action. In our first game this week, we had the Raiders come away with a 2-point nail-biting win. Ryan Kozlowski stepped it up this week and gave his team some added firepower for the win. Billy McMullen pulled down 100-plus receiving yards and helped his Eagles beat the Bears. In a long-standing NFC rivalry, we had the Falcons pick up win number 2. Giants, Packers. Pick up Jeremy Shockey was definitely a key, as he was able to work his way open for a big one here. The Giants win this one by the final score of 27-7. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris, thanks. In front of you, we've got the AFC Infirmary report. And as you can see, they were hit hard this week. Alan Faneca won't see action for a while, so this offense is going to have to make do without him. A hairline fracture of the arm is the initial report, and the doctors are saying he'll be out for 5 weeks. In front of you, we've got the NFC list, and as you can see, they could form their own MASH unit. Warwick Dunn sticks out on this list as one of the more costly injuries. The team doctors have reported a pulled hamstring, and he'll be out for 4 weeks. Now the big story of the day. Amon Green is going to find himself in street clothes for the time being, and that'll be a major blow to this club. So that'll do it for now. Boomer, back to you.
Down in South Florida, Miami, we had the Dolphins squeeze out a 4-point victory. Down in Alltel Stadium, we had the Jaguars get sent away with a 7-point loss. Bengals, Steelers. For the John Kitna is in the backfield. The line of scrimmage is the 17-yard line. Swings out to the left. A very quick pass. Shakes one tackle. Pulls over another one. Beautiful touchdown. The Bengals go on to win this by the final score of 21-14. The 49ers accumulated over 150 return yards in their win at 3Com Park. The Saints won on the road and will now head home to meet the Buccaneers. Quentin Griffin had a stellar game, but all said and done, his performance wasn't enough to lift his team to a victory. We had a big trade also of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris. Well, trades aren't quite as common in the NFL nowadays as they are in other sports, certainly. But we've got news to report to you on the trading front nonetheless. Kerry Jenkins leaves the Buccaneers and heads to the Bears. And they obviously see that as one of the areas that needs improvement. In exchange, they'll get someone to beef up their roster. Jones is just one of those guys you love to have on your team. He'll be an immediate factor for his new mates.
Tony Gonzalez had over 50 yards receiving and helped his Chiefs beat the Ravens. In a long-standing AFC rivalry, we had the Patriots pick up their third win of the season. And in our final game, we had the Chargers come away victorious. So that'll just about do it. But before we go, I'm going to toss out a few game balls to my prime-time players. Each and every one of these men had a week to remember. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.